Okay, well, welcome. Today we are going to talk about how to do Airy functions in polar coordinates. And I'm sure you're groaning, oh God, what am I going to do and all that. No, it's actually in polar coordinates, Airy functions are easy, much easier than in Cartesian coordinates. So things are very, very nice. I want you to assure that. The second thing is complex variables are simpler than 2D vectors. For example, if you wanted to, let's see if we can do this right. If you wanted to do conversion from Cartesian coordinates to polar coordinates, all you have to do is multiply by e to the minus I theta. That is actually rotation by angle theta, right? So u plus ix, ux plus iuy times e to the minus I theta will give you ur plus ui theta. Right? Come on, that's easy, no? Same thing with stresses. I wanted to show that the entire Morse circle formula is in this equation. And your homework problem is to show that this is actually equivalent to Morse circle formula by expanding. Okay, that's a good exercise, and you will see how beautifully the Morse circle formula will show up out of this thing. Okay, the second thing is polar coordinates. Even del squared a, sigma r theta, everything you can write it in polar coordinates pretty easily. It's much simpler than in doing in Cartesian coordinates. By the way, the textbook SAD has a very good chapter on this. In fact, I think it is chapter 10 or maybe chapter 13 or something like that. But it's a very nice explanation of this. Okay, but we are only doing a limited version. The main thing with polar coordinates is that you, just like I had created a table for z to the n. Here you can create a table for z to the n and other things with everything explicitly done. The nice thing is this was done in the 1890s by Mitchell. So we don't even have to look it up. So it's even very nice. So here is the entire table of everything that you need to know about polar coordinates Airy stress function. Okay, here it is. I'm going to blow it up a little bit. Okay, so I wanted to say this is the Airy stress function, corresponding stresses. Okay, everything is listed, so you don't even have to do the differentiation. Everything is here. I wanted to see. So if you look up this one, so it means Airy stress function r cubed cos 3 theta. So I put n equal to 1, you will get r cubed cos theta. So that is my Airy stress function. The corresponding sigma rr will be, put n equal to 1, I will get minus 2 minus 1 r to the 1 cos 1 theta, like that, right? So I wanted to understand that this thing works really pretty easily. Okay, so all you have to do is, it's just like going to Subway. You can say I want to have a little bit of r squared log r and then add to r theta sine theta and then go up here and maybe you add r to the minus 6 sine 4 theta, something like that. And you'll get a nice Airy function. The corresponding stresses you just add up. So it is just like saying, you just go to the deli, pick up whatever you want and you'll get a Airy stress function. That's all you have to do. Everything reduces to just looking for boundary conditions. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of problems to see this, to show you how to do this. Okay, so our first problem is a wedge. You can see the wedge. Here is the forces Fx and Fy at the corner of the wedge. So really speaking, you should think of like that. Okay, this is the equivalent of a beam, and what we are doing is, it's very slim and slender. So these are traction free. This is an infinite wedge, so it's going to go off to infinity. This comes down to a corner. So one boundary is a sharp point, another boundary is actually at infinity, and everything is at a corner. Okay, so coordinate system, you can see the polar coordinate system. R is here, theta is there. Okay, this line is given by theta equal to alpha. This line is given by theta equal to beta. Okay. So what are the strong boundary conditions? On this surface, the normal is minus E theta. On this surface, the normal is E theta. So there. So the normal is minus E theta. So T will look like sigma theta is 0, sigma r theta equal to 0. So those are the two boundary conditions on both sides. How about the weak boundary conditions? Weak boundary conditions means at the tip here, summation or integral of the stresses or d theta must be equal to f, and that must be true wherever I go, right? And sigma, sorry, I should have written as T must be equal to f, and r cross T must be equal to 0. So forces are known, moments are 0. So why do we care about this particular solution? This is the crudest example of a gear tooth. Okay, or any kind of sharp wedge. So if you apply a force like that, you are wondering when will it break. So it's a good example to try out to see what you can do. Okay, so now comes the question, how to pick Airy stress function. So what happens is, you notice that the wedge gets wider, right? So the surface area gets more. Surface area increases as r. So it increases with radius. So you want the stress to decrease as 1 over r. So that stress times area must be constant, otherwise it will not add up to the force, right? So you want Airy stress functions that look like things for which the stress looks like 1 over r. So what are we going to do? We're going to go back up here and do a little bit of a hunting. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can do this hunt. Let's see. There, can you see? Or these things are not going to work. R squared is all gives you constants. R squared log r will give you log r. Hey, this looks good, but it's 1 over r squared. That's not going to work. Look at r theta sine theta. You will get 2 cos theta over r. That's good. Or log r cos theta. You will get cos theta over r. That's good. This is not going to help. This is not going to help. This is going to help. R theta cos theta. You will get you 2 sine theta over r. Okay. So notice I got 1, I got 2, I got 3, and then you can see whether any of the others will work. And I got 1 more, 4. None of these things will work. This looks like it might work because I got r to the minus n, and if I put n equal to 1, but wait a minute, if I put n equal to 1, n minus 1 goes to 0, so this is not going to work either. None of these things are going to help us for this particular problem. Okay, these all have n minus 2, that's not going to help. This has r to the n, that's not going to help. So this might have helped, but there's a n minus 1 there. So I got 4 possibilities. Okay, so what are we going to do? Oops. So we are going to say, there, r theta sine theta, r theta cos theta, or log r cos theta, or log r sine theta. Those are the 4 things we are going to pick. Okay, then we look up the table and calculate look up the corresponding sigma rr, sigma theta theta, sigma r theta. That's all. I mean, how much easier can you get? How many constants do we have? You can see that there are 4 constants, and we have to figure out the 4 constants. So remember, I have to do the strong boundary conditions, and then I have to do the weak boundary conditions. Okay, so strong boundary conditions, what happens is, I will get, sorry, this should have been a C4. So what will happen is, when I apply the strong boundary conditions, and I want you to do that, look, in all of these things, I want you to go and apply the strong boundary conditions and see what happens. Okay, so there's no point in watching me do it. What I want you to do is re-derive all of these things. You have all the solutions? Go sit there and redo. See if everything works out. See why I get what I get. This is very hard because I keep telling you this, and it's very hard for you to do because it takes discipline. But I'm really telling you that's the way to work, okay? So what I want you to do is, anyway, all the details are here. So you just go and try and see if you can do it. So there is sigma RR, there is sigma theta theta, sigma R theta. So what happens is, I'm going to apply the weak boundary conditions. And remember, we talked about this now. ER and E theta are not constants. So you have to convert cos theta I, sin theta j, blah, blah, blah. All of those things you have to do. If you do that, you will get two more equations. So you have two equations here, 4 unknowns, you're done. Solve it and you're done. I am not going to sit there and solve it. You can do it. But that's how the procedure works. I want you to understand polar coordinates, things are very easy. Right? You just have to satisfy the boundary conditions. I'm telling you, boundary conditions are the deal. So the more you know about it, the better you are. Okay, very good. So that's one solution. By the way, the book has lots of cases that they have solved. So please take a look. And all of them require you to know a little bit about the stress distribution. Otherwise, you cannot solve it. You cannot guess the right Airy stress function. Okay, so next, what I want to do is something that's a little bit more complicated than the previous one, which is a stress concentration problem. So plate with a hole. The book has the problem of having a plate. Book has this problem. Plate with a hole with this kind of thing. Because of that, I chose a different one. Plate with shear. Just to show you how this will work. So plate with tension, they have solved. I am now showing how to solve plate with shear. Okay, so here is the plate, there is the hole, there are the rectangular boundaries, and I marked the boundary conditions 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the way in which we do is this equals this minus hole with stresses on it. And if I add these two things, it should give me a stress-free hole. That's how it works. Okay, so what we are going to do is pretend that the hole is not there and solve the problem. Then add the corrections in a way that the whole boundary conditions are met and the corrections fade away with distance. That's how we are going to do. So two conditions have to do. So first thing is solve it as if there is no hole. Then to that I add a correction plus original meets boundary conditions and correction dies away. That's how it works. No hole, add correction. So we know where to put the origin. No, that's the easy part. We know where to put the origin. That's where I should put the origin. That's the easy part. Now the question is, what coordinate system should I choose? The answer is, if you look at the hole, I want to use polar coordinates. If I look at the boundary, I want to use Cartesian coordinates. So what are we going to do here? If I were doing it with stresses, this is a headache because converting stresses from Cartesian to polar requires you to do all kinds of more circle stuff. But if you do with Airy stress functions, you just have to convert x and y to r and theta. That is, substitute x equal to r cos theta, y equal to r sin theta. So what happens is, you can start out with Cartesian and then convert to polar easily. That's what we are going to do. So the idea is, first thing to do is do the plate without the hole. Okay, so there. I have done all the gory details. The strong boundary conditions are these: sigma xy equal to s, sigma yy equal to 0. This is very simple. Plate with no hole with shear stress will be everywhere shear stress. So what's the big deal? The thing is, what I'm really after is the Airy stress function for it. which turns out to be minus Sxy. You can see sigma xx equal to sigma yy equal to 0, sigma xy equal to S. So this is my area stress function in terms of x and y. What I want to do is, this is not the correct solution for the plate with the hole. So what I want to do is, I want to add some corrections to it, which will enable me the hole to be stress free. So how do I do the corrections? Okay. So the way we do the corrections is to start with this and convert this x and y into r and theta. That's what we are going to do first. So first thing to do is convert x and y into r and theta. A naught equal to minus s x xy, which is minus s r squared cos theta sin theta. Sigma rr, you can calculate it. Sigma theta theta, blah blah blah, everything is calculated. So the idea is, this is painful also. We want to be really lazy and we want to let Mitchell do all the work. Oh, if somebody else has done the work, why should we repeat it? So our trick is, I want to get a Airy stress function which I can add to the Mitchell stress functions that I have. The problem is, I have got r squared and I got cos theta sin theta. Right? So the problem is, if you look at the Mitchell stress functions, we'll take a look. What stress function is the one that we're looking for? We want the right distribution that will enable us to cancel out all these stresses. No, there is, I want something that has cos theta sin theta in it. So I go back. So I go back and I start looking up the Airy stress functions. I look at it and I don't see anything which has sin theta cos theta. So what do? So I go back here and I say, wait a minute, that had to do with my stupidity. There. What it is that I need to convert this sin theta cos theta into sin 2 theta. So instead of having sin theta cos theta x, y, all of that, I wanted to convert it into sin 2 theta. And so my Airy stress function looks like minus r squared over 2 sin 2 theta. So sigma rr is s sin 2 theta, sigma theta theta is cos 2 theta. Okay. So this will be the stresses at the hole, and it does not satisfy the boundary condition. So what do I have to do? I have to add to this terms that will enable me to satisfy the boundary conditions in the hole. So how do I do this? I want to add to it some things for which the stresses will have to die down. So let's see. Now I have sin 2 theta. I want to match the angles. So I want to have same thing sin 2 theta. So let us see which Mitchell stress functions have sin 2 theta in them. So let us see. Go back. Oh, there you go. So let's see. Sin 2 theta, sin 2 theta, sin 2 theta, sin 2 theta. This all. Oh, here you go. R to the n plus 2 sin 2 theta, r to the minus n plus 2 sin 2 theta, r to the minus 2 sin 2 theta. So can you see this guy, this guy? Why am I not picking these other two? The reason is they are growing with R. I don't want things that will grow with R. I want the stresses to die with R. I don't want stresses to grow with R. Because these are only local corrections. You know, this is local stress concentration. So I want local corrections. So that's what we are going to pick. And once we have picked that, we go back all the way. And now we get a nice new Airy stress function. That's where we are after. This was what I got from the outer solution, pretending as if the hole was not there. And then I matched the sin 2 theta to look for the inner solution. Okay, with R dying. So now I have two constants, and I'm hoping by adjusting the constants I can take care of the inner boundary conditions. So let's see if that works. There you go. It will turn out that yes, I can calculate sigma r, sigma r theta, sigma theta theta. The boundary conditions are now applied, and you can get this and that as my two boundary conditions, and there is the value for A. and sigma r, sigma r theta, everything is here. So you can show that the maximum hoop stress is 4s at a particular point. So it will be the stress concentration factor for this is 4. That's how stress concentration factors are determined. Okay. So I hope you got an idea. What I want you to do is really read the written stuff very, very carefully, and you can see how it works.